What a day, Saints fans. If you didn't tune into our live watch party, I'm really, really sorry about that because 63,000 of y'all tuned in and joined me for our NFL Week 1 matchup of the Saints versus the Titans. It was absolutely electric. It was so much fun. And we picked up 930 new subscribers. So to all 63,000 of y'all who tuned in and all 930 members or new members of our family here at Saints Now by Chat Sports, shout out to y'all and thank you so much. And let me just have this as a quick reminder. Be sure to subscribe. That way you can get the best content in all of the Nolaverse here at Saints Now by Chat Sports. So before we get into what we're talking about and I get into my overreactions, I just want to preface this. For Overreaction Monday, we like to have a lot of fun. Throughout the season, the takes might get ridiculously hot. But you know what's going to be fun? Later on at the very end of the season when we go back through some of these and be like, what was a great take? What was a terrible take? Because honestly, it's all a lot of fun. So just want to put this preface out here. It's just YouTube. It's just having fun. So without further ado, Chip, hit that ish. So let's talk about benching Trevor Penning because I think he still has talent. He has what it takes, but I mean, good God, it was not good in that first half. I mean, when you have these kind of PFF numbers, it's not great. I mean, overall grade of 54.0, no. His pass blocking grade, that's something we all knew when he joined the New Orleans Saints as a first-round draft pick. That was something that he needed to work on. The run blocking, that is where his strong suit is. He was a great run blocker. He's a mauler. I mean, the dude is quick. He's aggressive. He's exactly what you want in the rushing game. However, with 2 sacks allowed, a 44.5 pass blocking grade, there's still a lot of work to be done. And what I will say about this is he also gave up 6 total pressures, 1 quarterback hit. And man, Arden Key and Harold Landry, they had several sacks. They were causing disruption in the backfield, handful of tackles for loss. It just stinks, man. It stinks that Trevor Penning couldn't be more productive and couldn't be more positive. But I will say this. He needs reps. Because at the end of the day, when you have a player like Penning go up against talented guys like Arden Key and Harold Landry, it's a good test. It's a good litmus test to see where he's at. So seeing that Penning wasn't able to be as dominant and as successful as we wanted to, I don't like to see it. But what I will say is the Saints made an adjustment late in the game. It's very clear that he's going to need a tight end or a fullback, to be chipping, chipping rushers, helping block, picking up on some double teams and stuff like that. So until he cleans up his footwork, Penning, he needs the reps because without real in-game experience, you're not going to develop into a better player. So the whole bench, Trevor Penning, it's an overreaction. I understand it, but that's what this video is. If you want overreaction, this is what it is. So let's get into number 2 because I think this is an overreaction, but I also think there's a legitimate case for this. Saints have the top defense in the NFL. I truly do believe that the Saints may have a top defense in the NFL. Coming into the year, I said that they were a top 5 unit. But after yesterday's game and kind of how all the games really transpired, I think that they might, it might be in the conversation of top 3. Look at the numbers that the Saints defense put up yesterday, or that the Titans offense, put up yesterday. I mean, in 285 total yards, 181 yards in the air, 104 on the ground. I mean, you limited Derrick Henry to 63 yards. That's not easy to do. You managed to limit the king to less than 70 yards, which is unbelievable. You had 3 turnovers. Last year, the Saints only had 7 interceptions on the season. This year, you have 3 in week 1. And on third down, absolutely lights out, absolutely dominant. They were 2 out of a dozen. And those 2 came in the fourth quarter, late in the game. So shout out to the Saints defense. And just a quick chat stats for you. I said it a minute ago. The Saints had 7 interceptions during the 2022 season. Tyrann Mathieu led your team. Dan Sorensen was number 2. Do what you want with that information. In week 1 alone against the Tennessee Titans, you have 3 already. That is so refreshing to see. It is so exciting to have a defensive unit that can still force a lot of turnovers, because last year they didn't do that all that much, but now they're finally getting back into that groove. And just in terms of some Saints defensive stats versus the Titans, I thought it was pretty interesting to see how they went. I mean, in terms of sacks and yards lost, you had 4 sacks for 23 yards. You had 5 yards in terms of turnover yards. Obviously, there was 2 interceptions that, got brought down, got pushed right out of bounds. But Marshon Lattimore's interception, you did get 5 yards of return. In terms of the red zone trips, the Titans were 0 for 3. That's awesome. You can't allow them to score touchdowns. You played against a team in the Tennessee Titans who has quality players and quality pieces on the offense, but you were able to keep them out of the end zone and limit the team to 3 points. And Ryan Tannehill, in terms of his entire career, over about 10-plus years, he had a QBR, which is a career low, of 10.3. That is dominance. That is absolutely incredible execution. And that right there is a top-tier defense in the NFL. So I want you to show some love to the defense. Chip, what do we say we're going to do? We're whipping the D's out in the chat. So we whipped the D's out in the chat by typing D in the comment section because the defense was absolutely incredible. Again, we like to have some fun, so type D down below. And guys, if you want to continue to bet on this Saints defense to lock-ish down, I encourage you to go to chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code CHAT125 because then that way you can take advantage of an awesome 125% deposit bonus. So what happens is if you put in $100, BetUS will put in $125 of their own, meaning you have $225 of cheddar to lay down on whatever you want. So if you want to look into week 2, let's look on ahead because the Saints, they're out on top again. They're coming out in week 2 as favorites against those scumbag Carolina Panthers. Can't wait to see the Saints absolutely destroy Bryce Young and that team. I can't wait to see the Saints defense. I mean, Carl Granderson had a sack and a half. You're telling me he's not going to just absolutely bully Bryce Young? You're going to hang him upside down, shake him until, his change falls out of his pockets? Come on. I'm betting on this game, so I encourage you to do the same. Link is down below. All right, another overreaction. Again, this one I think you can make an argument for. Marshon Lattimore is a top 3 cornerback in the league. I'm so tired of hearing the Marshon Lattimore disrespect. I'm so over people not including Marshon Lattimore in a top cornerback conversation because look at what this man did against DeAndre Hopkins. This isn't a rookie player. This isn't even a young guy who's talented. This is D-Hop, who is incredibly talented. His hands have quite literally not literally been covered, but his hands are made of Gorilla Glue, dude. He still put up 2 tackles, 4 PBUs, and an interception in that coverage grade of 90.2. Hello. That's what we love to see. And let me just throw another shout out to Marshon Lattimore here. He was in Tannehill's brain. He had that guy rattled. And Lattimore's passer rating allowed was very nice. It was 6.9. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, that's some great success for Marshon Lattimore. I mean, it's unbelievable. And that's why I think that he's a top 3 cornerback. So if you think so as well, hit the thumbs up icon, type 23 because, damn, he is a good football player. I'm so glad he's healthy and he's back on this defense. All right. Let's keep this steamy train moving. Chris Olave this season will be a top 5 wide receiver. It's NFL week 1, and we're overreacting like it is. Chris Olave, after an absolutely electric performance yesterday, he is going to solidify himself as a top 5 wide receiver this season, and I truly do believe over the next handful of seasons we'll continue to see him be a top-tier wide receiver. What I will say about this is, when you have production like Chris Olave did against the Titans, 10 targets, 8 receptions, 112 yards, 14 yards per catch. Didn't have a touchdown, but still, you managed to get a great catch, a lot of great plays. You managed to get meaningful plays, meaning whenever Chris Olave was getting hit on a bunch of deep routes, it was at very important times in the game. Whether it was extending drives, whether it was saving drives, or helping lead, you just hold a lead. It was all great things from Chris Olave. So I'm calling him Big Play Olave up on that title bar. So Chris Olave is a player that I think is going to be very, very exciting for the New Orleans Saints, and I really want to see him continue to be a very, utilized weapon. I don't think that the Saints should at all they should prioritize getting him the ball as much as they can. I want to see this guy light it up this season because we all know he's the real best wide receiver out of last year's draft class. So what say you, Saints fans? Will Chris Olave have 1,000 yards once again? Last year he had 1,042 yards receiving. You think he can do that again? I personally do. Type Y for yes, type in for no. So to let me know down in the comment section. And I just want to kind of finish off some thoughts on Chris Olave because if this duo can get hot, the season's going to be unbelievable. If you can get these guys on the same page, firing on all cylinders at all times, this team and this duo right here will be unstoppable. I truly do think that it could have a similar impact as Drew Brees and Michael Thomas back in 2019. Call me crazy, but I think that this is that Chris Olave has that skill set to be a top wide receiver in this league, which also brings me to my next point. If you want to get Chris Olave to have a very good season, and if you get him going up and having a wild year, Derek Carr will throw for 5,000 yards. In terms of his entire career, he's had 4 seasons that were above 4,000 yards. In his best year, back in 2021, 4,804 yards. So if you want to get that, if you want to hit 5,000 yards over the course of the season, 17 games in total, you're gonna have to do about 297, 295-ish yards per game. And Derek Carr yesterday, he started off on the right track. He had 305 total yards, but on 23 receptions, that's pretty damn impressive. 1 touchdown, 1 really stupid interception. I'll go ahead and say that. Like, I'm a big DC defender, but I mean, not the XFL team. I'm a big Derek Carr defender, but I also, I'm not going to sit here and say that interception wasn't just a terrible decision. I'm also not going to sit here and say that he was perfect because he wasn't. I think Derek Carr has some work to do. 62.6 QBR also shows that. That being said, improvement needs to happen, and it needs to happen quick. However, let's not act like we didn't expect some sort of growing pains for the first week. I'm going to keep it real. There's probably going to be growing pains for the first 2, 3, 4 weeks. That's just how it is. It's just how it is when you have a brand new quarterback on a new team with a lot of new pieces that are also very young in a new scheme, in different, it's just very different than what we had last year. And even when you get Alvin Kamara back in week 4, it's still going to look a little bit different. So I think that things might not quite be exactly where you want them this upcoming week or even next week. However, I will say this. I think that they will eventually figure things out. I think Derek Carr will get to a point where he is playing at a very, very, very high level. Not that he wasn't yesterday, but I think that Carr needs to find some improvement. I just wanted to say, though, we all should have expected some growing pains and just a little bit for this to all take a little bit longer than we initially wanted to. So, guys, thank you so much for watching today's show. If you made it to the end of the video, get in the comment section by typing "Who dat?" so that way I can know you are an absolute real one. And as always, no matter where you are or how you're tuned in, thank you for watching. Y'all stay golden. We'll catch you next time.